So, let's be real. Everyone's talking about AI. But how does a company actually go from just hype to, real-world results? That's what we're tackling today. We're going to break down the AWS Cloud Adoption Framework for AI. Think of it like this. We're taking what's a pretty dense document and turning it into a clear, simple blueprint that pretty much any organization can use to get its AI strategy off the ground.
And you can totally feel that excitement, right? It's everywhere. This quote from Amazon's CEO, Andy Jassy, just nails the moment we're in. The possibilities feel absolutely endless, but that's also the problem. That sheer scale is exactly why you need a plan. Without a map, it's just so easy to get lost in all the excitement.
Okay, before we get any deeper, let's just make sure we're all on the same page with the lingo. For today, when we say artificial intelligence, or AI, we're talking about the whole big field of making machines smart, getting them to do tasks that would normally need a human brain. And that covers everything, from simple predictions all the way to the really powerful generative AI that's making all the headlines right now.
So, here's the game plan for this explainer. We'll kick things off with the big challenge that so many companies are bumping up against. Then, we'll introduce the framework as the answer. We'll walk through the 4-stage journey it lays out, dig into the 6 big pillars that hold it all up, and then finally, we'll talk about how you can actually put all this to work. Sound good? Let's go.
All right, part 1, the AI adoption challenge. It really does feel a bit like a gold rush out there, doesn't it? Everyone's rushing in, trying to stake a claim, and honestly, it's creating a whole lot of chaos. And this really gets to the heart of the problem. What happens way too often is that companies are spinning up these really exciting but totally disconnected proofs of concepts. They're like these expensive science projects, right? They look amazing in a lab, but they never actually scale up or connect back to what the business actually needs to do. And that's just a recipe for wasted time, wasted money, and honestly, a lot of frustrated people.
So that brings us right to part 2, a framework for success. How do you get from all that chaotic experimenting to a real coordinated strategy? Well, you need a blueprint.
And that's exactly what the AWS Cloud Adoption Framework for AI, or CAF AI for short, is. Now, this is important. It's not some super technical manual. It's better to think of it as a mental model. Its whole purpose is to change the conversation from, hey, what cool tech can we play with, to what real business value can we create? It forces you to take that strategic, top-down look at how you're adopting AI.
And this table here, this shows you the core logic, how it all connects and what they call a value chain. It's actually pretty simple when you break it down. You start at the top. AI gives your business new capabilities, right? Things like predicting, prescribing, generating. Those capabilities have to drive specific business outcomes, like more efficiency or new revenue. Now, to get those outcomes, you've got to transform 4 key areas in your company. And this is the most important part. That transformation can only happen if you build up strength in 6 foundational pillars. You see, it's a chain of value, linking the very foundation of your company all the way up to the final business result.
Okay, let's keep building on this and move into part 3. This is where it gets really actionable. We're talking about the 4-stage AI journey, the part that takes an idea from just a vision all the way to creating real-world value.
So the engine that drives this whole journey is what AWS calls the AI flywheel, and it's such a great concept. Think of it as a virtuous cycle. Your AI models get better, which leads to better business outcomes. Those better outcomes mean you have more engaged customers, which in turn generates more and higher quality data. And guess what that data does? It feeds right back into your models, making them even smarter. It's the self-reinforcing loop that just builds momentum over time. Really powerful stuff.
And here's the journey itself, broken down into 4 super clear iterative stages. First, you envision. This is where you identify the real business problems AI can solve. Then, you align. You get everybody, tech, legal, finance, you name it, on the same page to make sure you're ready to go. Next, you launch small-scale pilots, things that can prove their value fast. And then finally, and this is key, only after a pilot succeeds, you scale it across the whole organization. See how that works? It's a repeatable process for managing risk and building success one step at a time.
Now, on to part 4. That whole journey we just talked about, it doesn't just happen in a vacuum. It needs a really strong foundation to stand on. And that's where we get into the 6 pillars of transformation.
These are the 6 big areas or perspectives that a company has to get really good at to succeed with AI at scale. And you can see it covers the whole shebang, from high-level business strategy and the people side of things, all the way down to the nitty-gritty technical details of your platform, security, and operations.
And this is where the framework really shows you it's about so much more than just the tech. Let's take the people perspective. It brings up this really crucial capability called ML fluency. And what that basically means is, if your business teams and your engineers can't speak the same language about AI, your projects are pretty much doomed. So building that shared understanding isn't just a nice idea, it's absolutely non-negotiable. And then look at governance. It's not just about managing schedules and budgets. The framework calls out the responsible use of AI as a brand new, totally essential capability. This means you have to be actively managing ethical risks, making sure things are fair, and building transparency into your systems right from day one. This isn't some nice-to-have checkbox. It's fundamental for building customer trust and making sure you're successful in the long run.
To make that governance pillar a little more real, just look at how AI projects are paid for. The framework points out this zigzag cost pattern. Your costs might be really high at the start for data prep, then they might dip during a simple proof of concept. But then, bam, they spike again during the MVP build-out as you start dealing with all the complexity and edge cases. Finally, the cost per prediction once you're at scale can be tiny, but your total cost just keeps growing with volume. Understanding this unique financial footprint is a massive part of good AI governance. Okay, let's bring this all home. Part 5, putting the framework to work. We've gone through all these concepts, so what do you actually do with all this? You know, if there's just one thing you take away from all this, let it be this. The goal isn't to memorize the framework, it's to use it. Its real power isn't in all the boxes and arrows on a slide. It's a tool for communication. It's designed to help leaders kickstart those really important strategic conversations, to get everyone, from the C-suite all the way to the engineers on the ground, asking the right questions, rowing in the same direction, and finally moving beyond the hype to build a real solid AI strategy. At the end of the day, the AWS CAF AI gives you a detailed map for what is a very, very complex territory. It shows you the terrain, it points out the potential pitfalls, and it helps you plot a course from where you are today to where you want to be tomorrow. So really, the only question left to ask is, where will your journey begin?